debate issues in line with Article 201 of our Constitution on the cardinal place public participation should play in all our legislative processes and even decisions in the executive. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the Honorable Omboko. It is true the public participation process in the budget-making process has been abused, grossly abused. And as Honorable Omboko says, that is why you find in a situation where 2 billion shillings was set aside for public participation, those who sat in the budget committee found it prudent or imprudent, whatever the case may be, to put an additional 10 billion shillings. But what is more worrying, Honorable Speaker, is that if the entire 12 billion shillings went to the counties that were slated in for the public participation exercise, then there will be no problem. The problem has come because it is people who have vested interest in those committees where they sit in that then use that opportunity to put projects in their own constituencies and counties far from what was intended by the public participation, Honorable Speaker. And I say this with immense respect to those who sit in the Budget and Appropriations Committee, because it is a committee that I have chaired before in this House. And the tradition that we had set right from the 11th Parliament when the new Constitution came into being is that money would be set aside for public participation, and over a period of 4 years, we would cover all counties in the country. And it is sad that some counties like Vihiga and the other 10 counties that were slated for benefit of these monies now lose out because of what is otherwise bad manners by ourselves, those who sat in the Budget and Appropriations Committee. And I say this, Speaker, because we have now reconstituted a new Budget and Appropriations Committee. Let me be on record, it will not be business as usual. This House will not sit back and allow members who sit in the Budget and Appropriations Committee to use the position they hold in that committee to appropriate money to only their constituencies at the expense of other Kenyans. Because all these 349 members come here to represent people. They come here to seek and lobby for resources to go back to their people. That is why the people of Vihiga are crying today. It is sad that you would find in a county that was to benefit from public participation, a national polytechnic in a county that was slated to benefit for public participation, getting a meager 10 million shillings, whereas in another county where a member in the Budget and Appropriations Committee sits in, a national polytechnic gets 250 million shillings. It is immoral, it is unethical, and very unprofessional of us who sit in those committees. And I say it will not be business as usual because we have agreed as the House leadership, both in the majority and the minority party, that those who get the opportunity to sit in whichever committee you sit in that committee to ensure that there is equitable allocation and share of resources across the country. And we will make sure that that happens. I therefore wanted to urge the Honorable Omboko and the other members who are affected. I will engage with the National Treasury to ensure that those counties do not lose on account of the actions of the former Committee of Budget and Appropriations, so that within the next financial year, because they are now preparing the estimates for the next financial year, we factor in those counties that should have benefited this year and those that ought to benefit next year. But let this serve as a warning bell to the new committee. I know the committees are slated to hold their elections tomorrow. Whoever you elect in those committees, especially the Budget and Appropriations Committee, because it is one of the 18 committees whose mandate lapsed, and there are new members in that committee. An opportunity to serve in the Budget and Appropriations Committee of this House is not an opportunity to enrich yourself. It is not an opportunity to allocate resources to your constituency or your county or to those who you think are your friends above others. you must ensure as members of that committee there is equitable and fair distribution of resources, not just those in public participation. The reason why the Budget and Appropriations Committee has been elevated in our standing orders to be a committee that's all of you to be on the lookout. And we call out each other, because that is the only way we can be able to hold each other to account, for us to be able to hold those in the executive to account. Because even those in the executive, it doesn't mean because you are a cabinet secretary, for instance, for roads or water or energy, that all projects should go to your home county. There must be equitable and fair allocation and share of resources in this country, and that is the spirit that we want to go ahead. Therefore, let me assure Honorable Omboko Milemba, I will pick up that matter with the National Treasury to ensure that none of the counties lose out. But also to tell members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, whichever leaders you elect when you go to elections tomorrow, I pray that you will do what is just, what is right, and what is accountable by your own standards and by our own standards as a house. That public participation allocation was meant as seed capital. When you go out and listen to Kenyans, they tell you this National Polytechnic in this county has 20 or 10,000 students. They have hostels that accommodate only 1,000 students. You know, 2 billion shillings might not even be enough maybe to build hostels in that one particular institution. But you put in seed capital, which informs the next budget-making process. Therefore, if, for instance, the Honorable Omboko's constituency in Vihiga, they had a road that was identified as a critical link between his constituency and the county of Kisumu or another neighboring county, and the members of the Budget and Appropriations feel that that road is such a critical link, then they put maybe 50 million shillings or 20 million shillings as seed capital so that they get a budget line that will be added onto in the subsequent financial year's budget. Now, this year they should have benefited to add, but public participation should not be an end by itself. Or you allocate, probably you find a school where they have no classrooms, children, you go to Turkana or maybe to somewhere and find children, especially or Baringo, where people had been displaced by bandits, classrooms were demolished or burnt down, and you find you can allocate 10 million shillings and give a school money to allow children to go to schools. That was the essence of public participation, but not the kind of abuse that we have seen in the last 2 years. And Honorable Speaker, I want to commit on behalf of the House leadership, in the majority, on the minority side, that we shall make sure it no longer happens in this House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.